It's a compound effect. So Billy has been, found like Billy got a swagger back, boys. I got a few articles here that I want to pull up. One's by Zach Verdi, I believe. Look, he talked about his second year, right? And Billy says, I'm probably one of the more impatient people out there. Very interesting to hear him say that. I think we can all be on the same page when we look at Billy. The guy looks cool as a cucumber. Looks like he's just like, no big deal. No stress here. You guys see me. I'm cracked out constantly. So there's no way that I'm patient, right? I look at Billy and I hear him say that. And I'm like, well, if you're impatient, my friend, you go play some poker because you're psyching all of us out. And we remember that comment he said about how first year was a blender. It felt like a blender. You could tell that it was a blender. And I think that's where I get frustrated when I go, we got to move on for Billy. We got to do these things. I like the very just kind of open-end approach that Billy has taken to everything so far. He's being blunt. He's being honest. I think he understands that it is a very minutia situation that he's walking into. First year of the portal, first year of the NIL. I mean, it was hell. It was hell. And he even quotes in this by saying, we were 5 games, we were 1 score back. And I mentioned that a lot last year. Not making excuses, just simply stating the facts that there's 5 games, we were 1 score away from winning that bad boy, right? And if you put that into perspective, you pull 3 of those out, we're all going, hey, Billy got it going on, okay? And so I think we got to continue to be patient. I keep preaching that because, I mean, obviously we come here and we gather around to talk about Florida football, and I think it's important that we all can kind of get on the same page, But he talked about as well as the compound effect, right? Where he goes, first year, right? I just think we were teaching everything for the second time. So the second time through, you have a base now that have gone through that first time. Shamar James was one of those guys who he came late, but definitely talked about being one of those people, right? Who went through it the first time, going through it the second time. And it definitely helps. And you got a base now that's going through it the second time. Well, the very first time, all he had was Montreal and Osiris that had been through that process. He even talked about, too, like, hey, this team, right? Where did he say at? He goes, I think I have a better relationship and better communication with the current team and current players. All that starts to help. You get the base of players that believe in you, that believe in the process, that believe in what you're doing. The new pieces that you add on, all they know what to do is drink the Kool-Aid because that's what everyone else is doing, right? Think about year one, and this is what we always go back to. It's the Mullen guys. They already had their base. They already had their culture. They already had their thoughts and opinion about how it should go. So you've got that mixture plus Billy's mixture trying to coexist with one another, and that's tough to do. And to win 7 games and to be as close as they were with that mixture speaks compliments. I think we overlook that. We just look at wins and losses and go, it wasn't what we wanted. But looking kind of to the details of the situation, it's not as bad as it seems. So for him coming out and saying these things, look, compound effect. I'm ultimately where I'm confident that we will improve each year. We're going to refine our process, repeat it, and get better at it. I think last year we were a very inconsistent team. We got some momentum, and then we would lose it. Ultimately, I think all that comes back to me. I have to accept the responsibility. That's part of the job. I'm confident in our staff, and I'm confident in the group of players that we have. I mean, how could you hate that from a coach? How could you have any negativity with that, right? How could you hear that and say, yeah, Billy's not the guy? He's saying all the right things. And sometimes, I mean, where we at right now? We're in talking season, right? You have to and those are the things you want to hear during talking season. Speaking of talking season, you guys see the news of Mertz being compared to Joey Burrow. It looks like Barstool decided to open up their phone and they saw that and now they're running with it. So it's like repeating itself as new news. Could you imagine having that much power like Barstool, where they just post it as if it's new news when really it's like 4 months old? Kudos to them for being able to get to that point. But look. I'm excited. I love where his head's at. I love his swagger. And he talks about recruiting a little bit too, which excites me. The quote is, if we get them to campus, we're in it. Again, they're more confident than they were last year. They've got more of a base. So when they bring recruits on, right, everybody they bring them to, you bring them to Trevor, you bring them to these freshmen that had a pretty healthy year one. Desmond, Chris, all these guys that had success that probably played sooner than they would have if Mullen was still there, right? We talked about that, those young guys playing, how that was going to impact recruiting. Like, you're going to come in and make an impact right away if you're that guy. And so all those things, and for the fact that he goes, look, we're in it for a lot of top talent right now, and we believe if we get them on campus, we are 100% in it. And when I hear that, that makes me believe, well, last year he didn't have that same confidence. Because why preface it this year if you felt the same way last year? You probably didn't. You probably felt like what we call them, a used car salesman, of like you're just trying to sell a hope and dream without really anything to show for it, right? It kind of reminds me of Phil Knight trying to sell, what's his name? Magic on the Nike shoe. I don't know if you guys know about that, but Phil Knight offered Magic some stock and all these options into Nike. Before Nike was Nike, obviously, Converse was the shoe of basketball when Magic came into the league. And they say, hey, you'll get your own Nike shoe, just basically what Jordan did. You'll get your own shoe, you'll get royalties plus stock. And he obviously went with Converse, which was kind of the thing to do. And they showed what he would have made if he bought into that. And it was like a couple billion just from the stock alone, the stock options alone, not even the shoe sales. So look, Phil Knight struggled obviously too, landing the big fish that first go around because he didn't have the stability there, right? They were trying to break into that new world of basketball. So obviously I'm getting a little out of touch here with comparing Billy Napier to Phil Knight, but it's the idea of when Phil Knight was getting things started, nobody trusted and believed in him. But you got to recognize when you got somebody who knows what they're doing, something special is going to come out of it. It just takes time. And so that's kind of, I think, where we're at right now. And I'm liking the energy. I'm liking, again, his swagger, right? He goes, hey, our staff, we've got a couple spots open that we're trying to add players through the portal. And then we're on the road evaluating 24, 25, 26 players all over the country, but most importantly, right here in our backyard. I mean, think about how far in advance that we're thinking already. And we think 2026, that's crazy. No, it's not. It's not. It really isn't. It seems like it's that's so far away, but it goes to show you these Georgia guys in Bama, well, Bama not this much this year, but Georgia already has so many committed to 2025. They already have 15, 18 commits for 2024. That's because they were talking to them in 2021. Yeah, in 2021, 3 years ago, right? So all that pays dividends. And so you got to let this process. You have to let this go through his system, and we can't just be counting him out. I think if anybody thinks that this year is the end year. I mean, I don't know how bad this year has to be for me to go, yeah, maybe Billy isn't the guy, because I need to see DJ and I need to see this 2024 class in combination with a second year 2023 class. With Billy at the helm. I have to see it.